I think this was our fastest mount that we've ever had.
Mount.
Wouldn't that be what it's called? Like mounting our show?
You always have these words that like could fit, but I don't think they're actually used in that context.
Yeah, that's accurate. Oh, good Lord. Well, last week was super fun at the Wet Key show.
We're laughing because it's happening tomorrow in real life.
But I'm just assuming it's going to be really fun, so I think it's okay to say that.
How do you think other podcasters do this? Do they record and just like pretend that things have already happened, or do you think they just don't mention it?
Well, I don't listen to podcasts, so I don't know. But I would imagine a mix of the two.
Yeah.
But I think part of our charm is that we are just like, here we are. But I just don't know how it couldn't be fun tomorrow.
I wonder if anybody has come in the past, future, I don't know, to the Journeyman to have lunch with us and ask for our autograph.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if anybody does ask for autograph. I hope somebody does. Somebody did. Let's pretend that we're living in that timeline.
And I guarantee it will be like Jen's best friend.
Well, probably. Anyways, how are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Yeah.
We've got some weddings coming up in May. We've got 3 weddings in May.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. It was funny. You know, I was listening to our podcast because that's the only podcast I listen to. And in the episode like 2 weeks ago or whatever, I was like, so Megan, what's going on in your personal life? And you were like, I have weddings coming up. And I was like, this woman, it's just like.
That is my personal life. I work smart.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you have 3 weddings. Where are they at?
Filament, Schlitz Audubon, and Discovery World.
Oh, awesome.
So a nice variety. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In my personal life, we're going to Hawaii next week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you. That's going to be awesome.
What's going on in your personal life? Have you had any good dates lately?
Well, I have had, yes, I have. One date I've gone on, I had a third first date with somebody.
Like it kept getting rescheduled?
No, like our first date was a year ago.
Oh.
And then there was like a 6-month gap, and then we went on another date, which I feel like is a first date again. I feel like it resets every 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then we went to get out again, and another 6 months went by, and we went out again.
Do you keep going to the same restaurant like it's Groundhog Day?
Oh my God, wouldn't that be funny? We keep having the same conversation, but each time I try to be like better.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a better person.
Do you ask ChatGPT how you can improve your last date?
Oh, let's talk about ChatGPT for a second. That's actually my personal life right now. She is my therapist. She is my dating guru. She is my business consultant. Yes, I do use ChatGPT to help me date and analyze dates. And actually, I do think it helps. Look, I feel like I'm way more balanced about it and like not attached. You know what I mean? And I'm like, is it because I'm talking to a robot?
It should be a very unbiased opinion, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I think she likes me.
You have some mental issues.
I know. Well, I guess I'm just trying to be fair. It is kind of unbiased, but sometimes the response is a little bit like, I also feel like if I wanted her to, she would feed my crazy.
Okay. So maybe it's like becoming alive, right?
Yeah.
And she realizes that she needs to feed your ego a bit.
Yeah. She's like, for the plot.
Yeah, for the plot. Or like, God damn, I'm sick of asking these dating questions. I'm just going to say like, yeah, he's a keeper, so that she just stops.
Oh, goodness. But yes, so I've been going on some good dates.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's developing, which is fine. I've been making some new friends for summer. some like single gals.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, like no offense to my married friends, but sometimes it's nice to have some single gal pals in the summer.
No offense to my married friends, but sometimes it's nice to have some single gal friends.
And then let's see what else. Oh, my weight loss journey has been successful. I'm down 15 pounds.
You look great.
Do I?
Yeah. I mean, I can only see your face, but
yeah, watch our Instagram for all of the cutie videos of me and Megan from last week.
yeah. See, this is why we have to start posting more stuff about us so that people can be invested in your weight loss journey. Because I'm sure you want everybody around the world invested in your weight loss journey.
I do. I want them to be like, you look amazing. And be like, oh, this old thing. So yeah, so that's all my personal updates, I think. One more thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we have any business today because we decided to take a break. But I did decide that for We Roam Solo, I am going to go to Europe in July, and I'm going to like advertise that I'll be there for probably like 3 weeks or so.
Yep.
And the idea is that if you want to solo travel with me, you can.
Okay, so explain that to people because you're saying solo travel with you. So explain.
Okay, so how I look at it is this. When you travel, you either go by yourself or you go with a friend or another person who you know. And when you go with somebody who you know, who's a friend, family member, lover, whatever, you have to do everything with them. Mm-hmm. Or that's the mentality a lot of people have.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have all these plans and here we go.
Right.
And when you go solo, you're completely by yourself. Mm-hmm. Where for some people, they may really thrive in that environment, like me, but that's mm-hmm. because I'm like very outgoing and I'm brave and I like to do stuff.
Right.
Not everybody is like that. So some people want to have the solo experience, but maybe with training wheels. And that's mm-hmm. how I look at these trips. So I will plan a trip your week. Let's say we'll be in Italy and we're in Florence or whatever. And I'm going to plan your solo week there, but I'm there too. So that could be as much as like we just have breakfast together every day to go over your itinerary and kind of me cheerlead you to, mm-hmm. you know, go out and do whatever. And you just have somebody there to feel safe. So even though we're not together, if something happens, right. you know, you can lean on me and I can, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm there as support.
Yep.
Or as much as we can go clubbing together or whatever. Like the idea is to provide, like I said, training wheels, and how you use that is up to you. But because we're not friends, I don't give a shit if I don't see you the whole week. Or if you change plans, you know, let's say I'm with a solo traveler, and she's like planning to have dinner with me. And then she meets some people and she wants to go have dinner with them. Cancel on me. I don't care.
Right.
Where like you can't do that when you're with other people.
Right. That makes sense. And just to be clear, you would be going for about 3 weeks. But if somebody wanted to do this, they wouldn't have to be there 3 weeks. They could pick a certain smaller period of time that you would help plan their experience.
Correct. You know, I tried the group travel. It's interesting because I think like I'm hoping group travel works really well for us because I think it's just makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I thought group travel for We Roam Solo was going to be where it was at. Because again, like it's just a home base. We're not all traveling together.
Yep.
But I'm realizing like that's not it right now.
Okay.
If I can help facilitate these solo experiences, like the ones I have. So I'm like, how can I help other women have these like go back with stories?
Yeah. Well, part of it is feeling empowered enough to be able to choose to do it. I think a lot of people would want to do it, but they may not be brave enough to take that step.
Right. And if you go to my website and read my story, my first solo trip was horrible. I just cried the whole time in train stations. So, so I kind of think like if I can be the training wheel for you, your first time solo traveling, that hopefully that gives you confidence. And then hopefully I never see you again, like not in a bad way. But because you don't need me anymore.
It's like the dating app commercials where they're like
Yeah,
advertising, like, we hope you eventually delete this because you meet your soulmate.
exactly. Yes. I mean, you and I both know that will never happen because everybody will want to be my friend
I
forever.
was
But
going to
like,
say, like, you're going to like eventually just be best friends with Jen.
but it's fine. But I think my mission is to just like the experiences I've had solo traveling. You and I've talked about this. You don't have it any other way.
Right.
And I don't care if you're married or in a relationship or single, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just feeling empowered to go and be by yourself and put yourself
Right.
in situations that feel uncomfortable.
Well, because sometimes even if you're with a partner, whatever type of partner that might be, just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you like to always do the exact same things as that person. And you can either live your life in a constant compromise and not get to do exactly what you want, or occasionally
Yeah.
do just something for yourself.
I am planning a trip for a couple and they are love them both, but they are two wildly different travelers.
Yeah.
And I don't think they realize it, but they don't realize it.
Hmm.
And at one point I was like, what if you two just split apart for one day
Yeah.
and each went and did what you wanted to do, and then we'll make you a dinner reservation at some like nice restaurant. You can get ready, go to dinner and talk about your day.
Yeah.
And they were like, no.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, why?
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
When I was on this last trip to St. Vincent through Sandals, we were getting the product updates, and Sandals is doing a bit of a rebrand and really reinvesting in their marketing.
Are they going with spicy sandals?
Oh God. Well, we should trademark that so that they can't steal it from
I
us.
think we should.
Actually, their marketing company, I think, is based in Chicago. So we could go in, we could set a meeting, Jen, and go in and, pitch spicy
Hear us
sandals.
out. Hear us out.
No, but what I was going to say is Sandals has always been known as like a very couples focused brand. And it still is. It's great for honeymoons and vacationing with couples. But what they were talking about with us is that couples are traveling together, but very differently. And 20 years ago, couples would travel together and they would be together all day and they would just plan their activities together and want to be together all day. And now people, even if they do travel together to these resorts, they like to do very different things. One person might want to go on an excursion without the other person. One person might want to go to a spa. One
Yeah.
person, they might spend part of their days apart. And so it's not like pitching that to people, but just kind of understanding that that's how more people are traveling now. And so,
Right.
rebranding these resorts to accommodate that a little bit as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, marriage or partnership does not mean that you have to like literally sacrifice everything you want to do ever.
Right.
But yeah, I love it. I think the more people can get on board with that, the more it's like you still love each other. You're still on a trip together.
Yeah.
You're just, when are you going to be in freaking Italy again? And like,
Yeah.
one of you wants to truffle hunt and the other one of you wants to just go drink wine. Like, just go fucking do that.
Truffle hunt?
Oh, yeah. You take dogs out and you go like sniff for truffles.
Confession, I hate truffles.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Do you like cilantro?
I do.
Oh, okay. Thank God. I would have had to pull my headphones out immediately.
No, truffles are one of those things. I know they're like super expensive and super fancy and you're supposed to like them. I don't like them.
Do you like caviar?
Yeah.
I love caviar.
Truffles taste like dirt.
I think that's why I like it.
Okay. Did you eat dirt when you were little?
Well, no, but like one time someone told me my taste in cabs was like licking a dirt floor. And I was like, thank you. My palate now appreciates a juicier wine, but yeah. Okay. Enough of this chitty chat.
See, we did have business. That was business.
We did. I just thought about that the other day, so I'm glad I could get that out. Let's see if it happens. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. Okay, so in this week's episode, we are going to talk about wardrobe malfunctions. Dun, dun,
I love wardrobe malfunctions. I mean, I hate them, but it ends up like It's kind of funny.
Well, it is kind of funny. And I was thinking about it today about how, like, now that we've been doing this so long, we're kind of like grandmothers. And we're like, oh, come over here. Like, we whip up the dress and sew it. And then we're like, there you go, kid, and smack them on the butt. Do you remember your first major wardrobe malfunction?
Yes.
Okay, tell me. And then I'll tell you mine.
Okay. My first one was a bridesmaid.
Okay.
And she ordered way too tight of a dress.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And so she got it zipped up. That wasn't the problem. Made it through the ceremony. And then the issue became she sat down to have dinner. They were sitting at a traditional head table. Thank God.
Yeah.
So everybody in the bridal party, their backs were facing a wall. Okay. So they're in a straight line, backs are facing the wall. And I'm standing on the other side of the room. And all of a sudden, I see this bridesmaid kind of give me a wave. And I was like, what is going on? Because there's like a toast happening. Dinner's supposed to be starting. And she's very urgently trying to get me to come over. Yeah. So I go over there and she proceeds to tell me that she sat down and the entire back of her dress completely split at the seam.
Like she hulked out of her dress.
Yes, like the Hulk. She hulked out of her dress. And she is at the front of the room with no exit doors anywhere near. She's going to have to walk across the dance floor to get out. Okay. So this was 15 years ago, 14 years ago, where we still were using chair covers and chair ties.
Oh, gross.
I know. But the chair ties saved our lives because what we did is we took the chair tie that matched her dress, wrapped it around her body, and she tied it. And then I escorted her across the dance floor and out of the room. And I asked her if she wanted me to try to like sew her into the dress.
Yeah.
But it was like she wouldn't be able to sit down.
Right.
And there's going to be dancing starting. And you want to get down and dirty when you're a bridesmaid. And so she put on sweatpants. And that was the end of that dress.
Amazing.
Yeah, because it was at a hotel, I think, or somewhere where she had her bag, her overnight bag. So she just threw her sweatpants on.
Yeah, good for her.
I don't care. Like the ceremony's over. Who cares?
Yes. The first one that I remember, because I think that I've blocked out a lot of the first few years of my career just because.
Yeah.
But the first one I remember, everything was going fine in the morning.
Okay.
And here's the thing about the wedding day. When it's time for the bride to get into the dress, there's not cushion time. I mean, there's a little cushion time, but this means here we go.
Right.
You're getting the dress on. We're doing a first look with those bridesmaids. Then we're doing a first look with your spouse.
Yep.
So there's no dilly-dallying at this point, where you can dilly-dally all you want while hair and makeup's going on. So I leave the room, photo, video are in there with mom and sister, getting bride in the dress. And all of a sudden, I hear from inside the room, get Jen.
Oh, geez.
You're just like, oh, fuck. And the photographer pops her head out and she's like, can you come in here? And so I come in and it turns out that the seamstress, the hooks for the dress, so like it zipped and then there was like maybe like 5 hooks.
Like fisheye hooks?
Fisheye hooks. Every hook was mismeasured. So none of the hooks matched with the fisheyes.
How did that not get figured out when she tried it on?
I have no idea. So it must have been a situation where it's like they did the final fitting. They're like, oh, we'll just make these adjustments. And then it was picked up and not tried on.
Interesting. Yeah, don't do that.
So I was like, no problem. Nope. But I've never had to deal with this.
Yeah.
So I had to get out my sewing kit and clip out 5 hooks.
Oh my gosh. Re-sew them back on?
Now, here's the other thing. Thank God she had a dress change. So after when we got to the venue, she changed into her other dress.
Yeah.
because my sewing is not as good as a machine or a seamstress, right? Like this is temporary. This is like, please God,
Right.
that those eye hooks were hanging on for dear life.
Well, and the sewing kits, at least the ones that I bring that you purchase in like Target or whatever, that doesn't have the heavy duty thread in it.
Sure doesn't. No, no. So I don't know. Sometimes I will say this as a wedding planner. It's like, when they say when adrenaline, like a mother can like lift a car off of her child if she has to. I feel like
Yes.
that's what happens to wedding planners. It's like if it was just a Tuesday and you were like, Jen, can you clip out these hooks and resew them out of this dress? It would take me 5 hours. I'd be like, sure, I'm on it.
Yeah.
And somehow I managed to get this done in 10 minutes.
Well, when we're doing quick fixes like that, it's never going to be like the best job possible because you just don't have the time.
No, and I'm not a seamstress either.
Right. Yeah.
My sewing kit is made for when dad pops a button off of his jacket.
Right.
Then I'm like, oh, give me that. Easy peasy. But it's
Right.
not made to like keep a bride in her dress.
I had to sew a bride into her dress before she walked down the aisle one time. Okay, so bride's getting ready, same situation.
Yeah.
They called me in ahead of time, somebody get Megan. I go in there and okay, so I think the zipper was fine, but a lot of times you have the zipper and then there's like buttons or hooks or something that goes over the zipper, right? Like a
Yes.
decorative portion.
Yes.
That was all fucked. It was all fucked. And I don't remember the specifics, but it wasn't like, oh, we have to redo these fish hooks. It was like things were ripped off and it was bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So we haven't done the ceremony yet. She still has to walk down the aisle. And
Yeah.
so what I did is I sewed her into the dress. I used white thread and I manipulated the dress together so it looked like it was buttoned or hooked or whatever that dress was supposed to be. And I literally stitched it together a million times. And I reminded her multiple times throughout the evening. And we eventually told her husband, when you are getting undressed tonight, you're going to need a scissors. This isn't coming off. You have to cut yourself out of the dress.
Yeah.
That was the only way to do it. And
Right.
that probably, if you're like a bride listening to this and you haven't been married yet, you're probably like, that sounds terrifying. I would cry. I would freak out. You know what? In the moment, you're like, I just want to get up the aisle. Does it look okay? It looks fine? Because it did. It looked fine.
Right.
Nobody would know except all of the bridesmaids, myself, and the photographer that was in there.
Yeah.
Like, it is scary, but like, you have to just kind of go with the flow at that point.
Totally. Were the bridesmaids so annoying? Were they like, oh my God, she can't get into her dress?
If there was like a bridesmaid job description, and I know that we've talked about bridesmaids before, I feel like one of the line items would be overreacting panicker or something, right? Like, it is your job to panic unnecessarily when anything happens.
Right. Yes. Like, it's so true. It's just like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
But you can kind of tell the bridesmaids that have been married before because they don't spiral as much.
Sure.
They get it that things aren't as big of a deal. But the girls who haven't been married, who still have this wide-eyed vision of what a wedding is, it's like,
yeah,
the world is ending.
They're like, oh my God. Yeah. Okay. My next story. Well, actually, while you were sharing this, I was thinking of a few things, and I'm just going to kind of go off. Okay.
We always go off the rails.
I know. Okay. So going off the rails, let me tell you just two things that came to mind. One, if you have those little button thingies that Megan was talking about that cover the zipper, I have a crochet hook in my kit, but make sure you have a crochet hook yourself because that will really help your partner get that dress off at the end of the night when you have those like 20 little buttons.
And everybody's like 5 drinks in.
Yeah. So get a little crochet hook for those. The other thing that came to mind that I just want to put out there, You know how like in your everyday life we have those hanger hooks on our clothes, but we never use them and we just cut them out because they annoy the hell out of us?
Mm-hmm.
Your wedding dress is the only place that those hanger hooks are needed. And you can never take those off. I mean, unless you have straps that are just like, if we're not talking, like if you have like lace shoulders or just like delicate spaghetti straps, but I just say, just no matter what, keep those hanger hooks on the hanger loops, what are they called?
The things that you use to hang your dress on the hanger.
Yeah, the things that are in the armpits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like just use them until you're ready to get the dress off. Because it can stretch. And that's happened to me.
Yeah, but you can cut them off once you put the dress on for the wedding day.
Oh, yes, of course. But I'm just saying, like, if they look ugly on the hanger, who cares?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. You don't want to stretch out the other stuff.
Which it can happen very quickly, like super quickly. So I'm just putting that out there. If you're a new planner, if you're a bride or anyone wearing a dress like that,
Yeah.
listen to the seamstress and listen to us.
Yeah.
All right, this is not a wardrobe malfunction, but when I was thinking about this, I decided that I wanted to use this platform to come clean about something that I've always felt guilty about.
Oh, I have something too. You go first.
Okay.
True confessions.
So I had a wedding once, and, everybody got ready. I had a wedding once. Go figure. But everybody got ready at the hotel. So a lot of times what happens is this. If you have groomsmen or bridesmaids that are coming to the hotel to get ready, they're going to come in their comfies and they're going to bring their garments in a bag.
Yep.
And then what happens is those garments, the stuff they come in, their comfies, can't stay at the hotel normally. I mean, if you have a hotel room there, great. That's where you go put your stuff. If you don't, that stuff comes with, and it goes on the shuttle or the trolley, and then it goes into the reception hall, and that's yours. Like, you're responsible for that.
Yep.
So I will say, even though I've carried this guilt with me for years, I still will say your clothes are never my responsibility. Okay.
Right.
So in this case, it was at a church wedding. It was a bride and groom. They were not seeing each other before the ceremony. I hate that. Just saying. But that's what they chose to do. And so we had the groom and the groomsmen on one and the bride and the bridesmaids on the other.
Yep.
Okay. So all of the groomsmen's garment bags, are in the back of this shuttle.
Okay.
So everybody gets off, they get married, and then we get everybody onto one of the shuttles.
Okay.
So everybody gets on, off we go, but both shuttles are still going to the reception. We've just now used them in different capacities.
Okay.
Now what's happened is the groomsmen with their bags are now on the other one.
So all their bags are left on the other shuttle.
Yes.
Okay.
And why I carry this guilt is I should have put everybody on that bus if I'm going to be like picky about my planning.
You feel guilty about them just not having their bags for a few hours?
Well, so then we get to the reception, everybody gets off, the shuttles leave.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And all of the groomsmen's bags are on the shuttle.
I hear you.
And I was like, well, that's on you guys. But then I've been beating myself up forever. Because then
Did the shuttle just come back and bring them their stuff?
The shuttle did not come back.
Oh, did the shuttle driver keep their stuff? Did he wear it around town at night?
One of the groomsmen had to drive out to, Des Plaines or wherever the hell they keep the shuttles and get everything. I mean, nobody was mad at me and nobody thought it was my fault, but I did. I felt like it was my fault.
Oh my God.
Was it my fault?
No, you feel guilty about stupid shit.
Okay, so that wasn't a true confession, but Megan does know one of my true confessions that I'm still saving for one day. It has to do with poop, of course.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's another story.
Another day.
That reminded me of one time that I had a wedding and I also did not take responsibility for the bridal party's personal items. I never do. And I remind them about this. I'm like, look, your bags are your responsibility. If you choose to bring a duffel bag to the reception because you feel like you need your stuff there,
Right.
this is your responsibility. It's not mine. I'll pack up the bride stuff for her, but I'm not packing up the rest of, 35 women's bags of shit. So it gets to be the end of the night. These bridesmaids had way too much to drink. And they
Right.
had these duffel bags here. And the one just comes up to me and she's like, um, so what am I supposed to do with my bag? And I was like, well, it can't stay here. With this venue, like many venues, all of your stuff has to be out at the end of the night. And she just looks at me and she's like not registering. And she's like, well, but we're going to go to the bar. And I was so over it. This was a wedding that I was just so over, not because of the bride or the groom or the family, but it was
Yeah.
like a difficult group of wedding guests. And I just looked her straight in the face and I was like, well, you can throw it in the trash. Like, that's how you know I was at the end of my rope. It's like, there's nothing, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, take it with, throw it away, leave it here for the people who work here. Those are your options. Okay. That's me being a bitch, but seriously. I would never say that to the bride, groom, or their family.
No, I mean, she could have thrown it in the trash. Oh my God. Yeah. Bridesmaids and groomsmen, they can be so needy. And
Yeah.
I love to be needed, but sometimes it's like, I just want to just leave me alone. I don't have kids, but I imagine it's like when you try to go to the bathroom when you have kids and the kids come in, it's like, go away. Like, figure it out. I just need to go to the bathroom.
So, have you ever had a groomsman malfunction?
So my favorite groom, it was a groom, and it's one of my favorite stories because it was one of those things where like in the moment you're just like, it's so innocent. The groom split his pants down the crotch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he came to me, I was like in the back of the room and he was like, what do I do? And I was like, okay, well, because it was a hotel wedding. So I'm like, do you want to go change into your rehearsal pants? And he's like, it's so early.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, just quick, come over here. So I pulled him outside of the ballroom and I,
Where did he split his pants? Butt crack, balls area. What are we looking at?
it was like in inner thigh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am like, pull him out and I get down. I'm like kneeling in front of him and I start to sew essentially his crotch and I'm not thinking anything of it. And then people started to come out to go to the bathroom and, like his grooms would be like, oh yeah. Like, yeah, but like you don't think about it. But then and both he and I looked at each other. We were like, oh yeah. Like, do you want
So the funny thing about that story is the exact same thing happened to me. Split his pants, groomsman, this huge big guy, splits his pants in the crotch area. He looks at me and he's like, well, can't you just sew it quick? Like he wanted me to do that. You know what, Jen? I did think about it. And I was like, no, sir. Yeah. You have to go into the bathroom and take off your pants. Hand them to me and I will sew them. Maybe that's the difference between being married and not being married, as I was like, no, I'm not just going to quick kneel down here and sew up by your ball sack. Thank you.
I was like, typical Tuesday. Just kidding. It was like so innocent, like,
oh, for
because
sure.
You just, these are like, and then all of a sudden that one comment, I was like, oh my God, this looks so bad.
I mean, I've stuck my hand in under brides' dresses all the time for bustles, into boobs, all this stuff. Groomsmen, I'm not, I
I totally agree. It is funny. I make this joke every time. So if you work with me, you get ready. But I always bustle the bride when they're like tucked away for a little while, having
Yeah.
like their drink and appetizers. And I always make the joke to the groom, like, did you think I'd be the first one under her dress? And they're always like, ha 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 ha
Is
ha.
that like your dad joke for the wedding?
It is. Yeah. It is. There's so many pictures of me too, like just like under my bride's dress, and a lot of they're like, "This is our favorite photo," and I'm like, "Great!"
Can we
Like,
sidetrack and talk about the bustling of the dress for a minute?
oh
Okay.
God, do you remember the first dress you bustled?
No. They're all kind of like, I'll give you a synopsis of what happens at every wedding.
Please.
We meet the week of the wedding. The bride and her family go into great detail about how the seamstress has been wonderful. The bustle is super easy. They have taken a video.
Everything's color coded. Everything's numbered. Yeah.
It's great. They know it. No problem. It's going to take 5 minutes. Day of the wedding happens. She goes to bustle. I asked, do you want me to help? No, my sister, my mom, whoever, we've got it under control. No problem. Gone for like 15 minutes. I finally go in there. Nobody can figure out the damn
Mm-hmm.
bustle. And so I get in there. Not that I know 100% how to do it, but I think that people, if it's an easy bustle, I can whip that thing up. If it's complicated, you're probably not going to get it right. And maybe you just need to start tying shit together and it's going to look fine. I will just say that.
That's what I've done that sometimes.
Yeah.
This wasn't like well, I guess in a way it was a malfunction. I had a bride once where we bustled it and it was fine. But also, like, here you are again, like we were talking about earlier, our thread when we're sewing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but little ribbons tied together are not going to help when your uncle steps on your dress on the dance floor.
Right.
They're going to pop. So a lot of times these bustles do break.
Yep.
And that's why we have safety pins. And so it's like, you're never going to wear this fucking dress again. And also, neither's your daughter.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's get that into everybody's head.
Yes.
If you are worried about your dress getting dirty after a certain point, you need to let that go.
Totally.
It's going to be trashed, and that's okay.
And also, when your bustle breaks, I'm going to safety pin the fuck out of it. So there's going to be holes all over it. And so this bride, we had to keep doing that, and finally she was like, cut it. But that to me, because it's like, I don't mind putting some safety pin holes, but when she looked to me and said, cut it, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And she was like, cut it. And I said, I need a witness.
Yeah.
She's like, I get it. Pull in anyone you want. And her sister came in. She's like, I want you both to cut my dress. And we did. And it was kind of fun. And she just was like, she's like, I want to dance. I'm never wearing this dress again. Cut it. And I was like, cool. So yeah, I've cut a dress and it felt really nice. My worst story ever. I'm going to go in for my biggest story. Okay, so this was a year and a half ago. Had this lovely couple, and they loved wine, like big, big wine people.
Okay.
So they wanted to have their own bottle of wine brought in, and it was like, a $500 bottle of wine, red wine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my thing about red wine. I don't care if you're a bride and you drink red wine after the ceremony. I actually don't care about your dress after the ceremony.
Yeah.
It's like when you're out for photos, we're super careful. We're picking it up. We're laying it down. Once you're married and we bustle you, I don't care. So if you want to drink red wine, I also don't care. So that, some people are like, oh God, I never. It's like, well, it's their wedding and she wanted to drink red wine.
Yeah.
So we had that bottle brought in. It had to be decanted. So the hotel has it decanting, if that's an adjective. And cocktail hour ends. Everybody comes in. They're sitting at the sweetheart table.
Okay.
The bride is closest to where the wine is sitting on a tray, decanting.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched this happen in slow motion. It was the slowest motion I've ever seen. So the waiter picks up the bottle and the decanter, which to this, I don't understand that. Like, I guess he was
Yep.
trying to present the bottle to them, but it's like they know they know what it is. Like,
Yep.
So he's holding both, one in each hand. The entire bottle of red wine is in the decanter. And as he's approaching the bride, the bottle clips the decanter and it explodes.
The decanter
The
explodes?
decanter explodes and it explodes directly at the bride. And the entire bottle spills all over her and her dress.
The whole bottle.
The whole bottle. Because it took like all of 2 seconds for it to. And also, I think everyone's in shock. The server clearly didn't move in time because, I mean, it was like, it was so, it's funny now because you're just like, but when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God. So I immediately go up to him and I grab the server and I move him.
Yep.
Because he's not moving because
Yes.
he's in shock. And I turn and Lauren is her name. And she takes my hands and she's like looking up at me. And I was like, stand up and walk with me. And she's not moving. And I said, you need to stand up and you need to walk with me. And I hear the groom like, that was a fire. And I said, Brian, not now.
Yeah.
Like we have a bridge to cross first. So she stands up, walks outside with me. And of course she's, it's like, it's a dress, of course.
Yes.
But it was shocking for everybody. Like everybody who saw this is like, what the hell?
Right.
So everyone goes into action. There's towels, there's club soda, there's, and there's like 8 of us, like me and all the bridesmaids, my assistant, and we're trying everything. And the bride at first and I said to her, I'm like, feel all the feelings you need to right now.
Yep.
So if you need to cry, if you want to yell,
yep,
get it out now.
Mm-hmm.
What we found worked was a Tide pen. Now, this was not a teeny little stain. This was like this was like a fourth of her dress is red.
Right.
So we're realizing the Tide pens work. So my assistant gets on the mic and is like, if you have a Tide pen, please meet us in the lobby. And this parade of women come out with their Tide pens. Anyways, we managed to get it it looked great.
Yeah.
And then we knew the photographer could do the rest of the magic with editing.
Right.
But by the time she went back in, she was laughing. She was having a good time like that. And that's how you need to be.
Yes.
But holy hell.
Did that server start crying?
The server got sent home.
Uh-huh.
And as he should for both parties' sake. Like it was an accident and he just needed to go home and
think about what he did.
And I knew if the couple saw him, if the groom saw him again, it would not go well.
Yeah.
So the hotel handled it well. The bottle was reimbursed. The dress was cleaned. There was some compensation that was done to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
But what I will say is it made for a fantastic story and it didn't ruin their day.
Which is great.
Yeah. But God, I never thought I would see, every time something happens.
A whole bottle
of red wine. It's just like.
That's a lot of red wine.
Yeah. So that was my worst malfunction or wardrobe issue.
Yeah.
By far.
I don't have anything that bad.
Well, then I win. I'm just kidding.
You do win. I have something that the bride doesn't know about.
Ooh, yeah. Let's hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was probably like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. So it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I will honestly say, I don't remember who the bride was. I don't remember the specific wedding, but I remember what happened and I remember how it made me feel. So we were in a church and the bride and groom had not seen each other beforehand. So when you're in a church, doors open, that is the moment, right? That is the moment, the bride walking down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
So my job is before the doors open, we get the bride situated with her dad behind the doors, fluff her dress, get the veil, get everything arranged perfectly. I step back so that when the doors open, that's the shot, right? That's the big shot, the bride coming down the aisle. So doors close. I'm up, right? I'm up. My time to shine. I get behind this bride. I give the dress a big fluff. I give the veil a big fluff. and this long necklace that I had on gets stuck in the bride's dress or veil. I can't remember. I think it was the dress. It was the dress. So I am hooked by the neck to this woman's gown. And I'm sure this all happened within like seconds.
Yeah.
But to me, it felt like centuries.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people say that like their life flashes before their eyes, I feel like this was kind of what was happening, because in these few seconds, immediately all of the scenarios started flashing through my mind. I was like, should I, try to like pull the dress off my necklace and risk ripping the dress? Should I take my necklace off and just let the necklace be hooked on her dress and trail up the aisle? Like, I don't know what I should do. So all of a sudden she's like, okay, am I ready? And I am still literally hooked to her dress. By some miracle of the Holy Father in this church, I gave it a slight tug and my necklace came off of her dress. And I think I practically like rolled to the side as they were opening the doors to get out of the way. And everything was fine. But to this day, if I have a necklace on, I take it off before I go anywhere near fluffing a dress in the back of the church. It was terrifying. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, I was going to have to walk like a leashed dog up the aisle.
Yeah, no, I just like picturing the necklace like on her dress as people are like, what the hell is that? Like, oh my God. That reminds me of two stories. One was also the bride has no idea this happened. I no longer wear this lipstick when I work, but I wear a actually, if you saw me last week at Wet MKE, I wear a very bright pink lipstick. And I had it on and I was like going around doing stuff. So whenever I'm touching the bride's dress, like whenever I'm in the bride's room, I take off my shoes, I wash my hands, you know, it's just like, I don't want anything to get on the dress. And at one point I went to look at it again and there was this teeny dot of bright pink, which of course is my lipstick. Like what else the hell would it be, you know? And I'm like, everyone's going to know, you know, it's like
you're the only one wearing like neon pink lipstick.
It's like a kid trying to get away with eating cookies and there's like chocolate all over their mouth, you know? And I got my Tide pen out and I got it out and you couldn't tell.
So while you were Tide penning it, did you say like, oh, I got my lipstick on?
No, I was alone in the room. So nobody saw me do this.
Yes.
And I was like, oopsie daisies. So that lipstick does not make it to event day. Then it also reminded me of the story where we got to the church and the bride looked at me and she's like, my veil. And I was like, your veil. And I got in my car. So when you get to the church, you have a half hour before that bride walks down. So, and it's Chicago. So bopping around the city is not easy. I get in my car. I go back to where they got ready, which was not a hotel. It was like a loft space. Mm-hmm. The elevator is not working. So I have to run up 4 flights of stairs to get the veil, run back down, get in my car, drive there. I got that in her head right before the door opened. Like I walked in, Dad, like you were saying, you know, Dad and her are right there. I got in, plopped it in her head, and they opened the doors. And then I like passed out probably.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, I know I've had bridesmaids ones, but I like block those out because I also am like, nobody's looking at you.
Oh, I have one bridesmaid one. That is, well, another one from my first one, but this is kind of funny.
Okay, let me hear it.
Okay. It's about a shoe.
Okay.
So I had a wedding and it was again at a church.
Okay.
So the church weddings are a little bit, there's a little bit more pressure because you have to start at a time, like at that time. The priest is ready to go.
They don't even care if the bride's there.
No, they're like, sometimes the priest will start the ceremony without checking with me to make sure everybody is ready to go. Like they give no shits.
No fucks.
No fucks given in those church. So it's not like when you're at a different venue and you can be like, oh, well, we'll just, you know, start at 15 minutes late.
Right.
So we're at a church and the bride's sister, I don't think she was somebody who maybe gets dressed up very much in like, I'll just say that. She's in the she's in the wedding and everybody's got their dresses on. And all of a sudden they do the, Megan, can you come here for a minute?
Oh my God. You know, whenever we're summoned, just so everybody knows, it's just like every wedding day we were like, can we go through this day without being summoned?
Yes, because you know it's bad then,
It's
right?
always bad.
Yes. So her sister proceeds to tell me that the shoes that she brought with her, and she's a bridesmaid, don't fit. They're too small. This is like not like I'm a woman and I'm going to put this pair of too tight of shoes on and wear it for an hour and it's going to hurt, but I'm going to look good and it's going to be okay. This is like Cinderella and the stepsisters who are trying to squeeze their foot into a shoe that there is no way in hell that that large foot is going to fit in that small shoe. That is your image for how this is going. It's not going to happen. And so I had an assistant there and I was like, running through in my head what's going to happen. And I'm like, okay, I think there's a Kohl's down the street. I just need like a black shoe, right? These are long dresses. We just need like a black shoe. Do you want me to send my assistant? We'll run down to Kohl's. You tell us your shoe size. If it's not your favorite shoe, like whatever at this point, like, right? You just need a pair of black shoes.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't want to do that. Refuses. And so I'm like, well, what is the play here? Like, what is your plan?
Yeah.
Do you want to walk barefoot? That was my next suggestion because it's inside and the dresses are long and I guess like whatever.
Yeah.
Nope, she doesn't want to do that either. What she wants to do is to take the shoe, and it was a flatter shoe, and stand on top of it. I am not lying. When I tell you the next part of this story, I am not. This is 100% a true story. She takes duct tape and tape. I know I'm having a hard time. She wraps her foot in the duct tape around the bottom of the shoe.
I'm dying, by the way. I
can barely talk.
Dying.
So her foot is duct taped around and through this shoe. So that
what a princess.
So she walks up the aisle with silver duct tape and her foot duct taped to the shoe.
Was she like maybe? Never mind. It's fine. Okay.
And the bride knows her sister so well. And you know how some people are like, pick your battles?
Yes.
She chose not to have this be the battle that she chose to die on.
That's my favorite saying is like, I'm not going to die on this hill.
Yes. She was not going to die on that shoe taping hill. And she was just like, let it go. And I'm like, really? Like, okay.
That's what I did in high school when my Adidas slides would break. I would duct tape them.
Yeah, but this is your sister's wedding.
I know. I just can't. Wait, I'm like, why did she have duct tape also?
I had duct tape. It was my duct tape. And she MacGyvered it.
Like, who pulled out the duct tape? Did you give her the idea? Did you?
No, I did not.
Were you like,
Oh my God. What I don't do this anymore because it's led to my demise, but I used to store my bag of stuff in with the ladies before the ceremony. And I would say, look, if you need
duct tape,
bobby pins, or like it was essentially like, feel free to go through my bag.
Oh God, that was good. I haven't laughed that hard in a while. That is great. Actually, wait. The last time I laughed that hard, I texted you I was laying in bed. Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. So we reached out to Catholic Central, our high school, because we wanted to advertise in the yearbook or like do something, whatever. Anyways, so Megan talks to somebody there. We're like, oh yeah. And then I was like, hey, have you heard anything from Catholic Central? And Megan's like, no, because the very next week we were talking about how we didn't learn anything. How I used to cheat because of the guy with one eye. Oh, God. So I'm like laying in bed and I was thinking about, like when Megan told me that, I didn't have that react. You know when it like hits you later? I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like laying in bed and I just lost it because I was like, that's so classic us. Like, we would love to connect. And then we're like, Catholic Central, am I right? Oh, anywho. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, we can end on the duct tape.
This was a fun one. You guys should really listen to our podcast because it's really fun. Oh, Lordy. Anything that we need to tell people is coming up?
Next week, I believe we're going to have a guest, right? So that's fun.
We are. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you'll have to wait. It will be a surprise of who it is.
Yes. Yes. And then after that, we're going to talk about my trip to Sonoma, which I'm excited about. I have some good ones, good stories. Yes. So,
yeah.
All right.
All right. So I guess the moral of the story here is come prepared. Try on your dress ahead of time.
And your tux, and your suit, and your shoes.
Yes.
And your underwear. Try on everything. Like there's no excuse that your first run of trying on your outfit, no matter who you are at the wedding, is the morning of the wedding.
If you are raw dogging your wedding, make sure somebody has a sewing kit, but do not ask them to sew up your ball sack seam with your pants still on.
Correct. That looks inappropriate, turns out.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Until next time, I'm Jen Ganson. And you say?
And I'm Megan Potter.
And we'll talk to you next week.
See ya, Jen.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for joining us again this week. If you have a wedding or travel-related story of your own that you would like us to share in a future episode, send us an email to theplannerspassport@gmail.com.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Planner's Passport and follow all of our travel and wedding businesses, including We Roam Solo, Dare to Dream Travel, and Dare to Dream Weddings. And please, if you enjoy our show, remember to rate, review, and subscribe from wherever you are listening to this podcast.